Hello folks, and welcome back to my channel. I, like many of you, have been getting lots of ads recently for an Amazon pierce yourself at home piercing kit, and I don't know what came over me at like 2 in the morning the other night, but I decided to order one and review it. So here we go. I'm Lynn Lohide. I'm a professional body piercer of 13 years. This is a $7 pierce yourself at home, everything you need to pierce yourself kit from Amazon. Let's review it. I have not opened this prior to filming this video. We're just gonna get my live, uncensored reaction here. So, all right. Oh my God. So it all comes in one little neat plastic pouch. Let's see what we got. First thing, I think these are gloves. Okay, we've got one pair of gloves in this entire bag, and these are, these are the worst, like, vinyl gloves. Oh, I hate these, that I think I've ever felt. Also, I guess they're just like one size fits all. These are huge. How do they expect anyone to grab anything with these? And the material is terrible, and they're so slippery. Like, you know, I'm honestly impressed that so many people on TikTok pierce themselves and people wearing these, because I've worn food service gloves that are better than these. These are, I mean, look at these are so awful. I also love that they only give you one. There's like a bunch of jewelry and needles and stuff in here, but only one set of gloves. So I guess you're just gonna like reuse the gloves for every piercing you do. That's great. Let's see what else we have. Okay, now we're getting to the, and the gloves are literally sticking to the packaging. Now we're getting to the good stuff. Oh my God. Should I just leave these gloves on for the rest of the review and see how much I can do with them on? Okay, so they gave us one set of gloves, but they did give you 10 alcohol wipes, which is great. And they mentioned that they're single use. I love that. Just alcohol alone is not enough of a skin prep before piercing. You really should be using alcohol with iodine, or if you can't use iodine, there's alternative skin preps in the industry, forms of BCK and Pure Cleanse. You can do a double alcohol prep, and that's sometimes what I do for folks with iodine allergies, but there's obviously like no instructions about how to properly do that with this. So for what it's worth, for those at home, this is not enough to disinfect your skin before piercing yourself in these kits. So folks very well are probably still piercing through like not properly disinfected skin. So that's great. We're off to a good start. Now we have an assortment of needles. Here we go. I'll have to take a picture of this one's packaging, but this 14 gauge needle, the packaging has already become damaged, probably from shipping, since it was literally just shipped in this little plastic pouch. So this is not sterile anymore because the packaging has been broken open. I'll put a picture of that up. So all the bacteria like that was in the rest of this Amazon box and that this package encountered while being like literally shipped across the country, that's all inside this little pouch in this needle now. So when you go to pierce yourself with this needle, you very well are just putting all of that bacteria like directly into your brand new piercing. So not great. These are EO gas sterilized needles. At my studio, there are some things we purchase that are gas sterilized, but because of the risk of contamination or damage to the packaging during shipment, we freshly sterilize everything in studio just to ensure that it is properly sterilized. And we sterilize immediately before piercing in order to make sure that it's done as safe as possibly. So this is not great. I'm really curious the quality of these needles though. Let's take a peek. God, I can't do anything in these gloves. Okay. Ooh, that. I'm gonna post some close-up shots of these needles, but these are not good quality piercing needles. They're not the worst, I'll be honest. I've definitely seen like worse quality piercing needles for sure in my career. So I'm actually a little impressed. I definitely expected worse, but they're definitely still not great. Like this is definitely still not going to be a particularly comfortable piercing needle and piercing experience. I famously am quite bougie about the needles I like. I work with needles from Kiwami. They're silicone coated. They're immaculate. I'll throw up a comparison shot between a Kiwami piercing needle and this one so you can see the difference. But you know what? Honestly, like somewhat impressed. I really thought these needles were going to be even worse than this. They're still not like great needles, but they're not the worst thing ever. They could be worse. The bar is in hell, but they could be worse. So let's see what else we have in our bag of goodies. Okay, we have some piercing tools. We have some clamps. All right, let's just pop these open and see what we're working with. These are EOS gas sterilized pouches, but there's not an easy way to open them. So unless you had sterile disposable scissors, these tools are no longer sterile when you use them. I'm just going to pop these out of the package, but if you didn't cut this open with sterile scissors, then your tools would no longer be sterile. So you have some needles that have not been properly packaged and shipped and now aren't sterile anymore. And now we have some tools that aren't sterile. Oh my God. This is the worst septum clamp. Oh, this is awful. Okay, so see this little shape right here, how this like meets together all the way when it's closed. I'm gonna show you a picture of the septum clamps that I use at Laughing Buddha. See how there's that opening between that space? So if you went to put this on someone's septum to pierce them, this would just like crush the lower portion of their septum between this part of the clamp and distort the tissue a whole bunch, which could potentially lead to a crooked septum piercing, but also just hurt like a lot. Like, yeah, ow, these lock on really tightly. This has to be my least favorite design of septum clamp that I've seen since the rise of like companies trying to make disposable septum clamps. I've tried using higher quality ones of these, and they suck and they hurt people and they just lead to crooked septums because of all that compression and distortion on the tissue. So we're continuing a really great quality process here with what you're getting for $7. This incredible $7 piercing kit. All right, we've also got a pair of slotted Pennington forceps that don't align. I'll post a picture of this, but yeah, these don't align at all, probably because they're really like thin, cheap plastic. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how awful. So that's promising. That's going to be really handy when you go to pierce someone with it. I can't even get them to align. Sick. And then last, but certainly not least, we have our jewelry. All of it just shoved together in one bag. I can't do this with these gloves on. Oh my God, I give up. I can't. Are you kidding me? I can't do it. I can't try and hold this jewelry with these gloves on. Sick. It is all black coated, PVD coated, externally threaded mystery metal. Hell yeah, brother. I will post some close-up pictures of this stuff so you can see what I'm seeing, but these are awful, obviously. The PVD coating is already wearing off around the threading on some of these. They're all externally threaded, which is just going to cause damage when it's inserted and removed from your piercing, and also just be really difficult to insert anyway. Some of these are missing beads. Like I've got some ends that don't have any beads in them, and I don't have any loose beads. They shipped me these without all of the beads for some of these. There's also like only like 2 sizes for everything. So if you had anatomy that needed something longer or a different size, you don't have that. And most of the librettes and the curved barbells in this kit are like the size for a healed body piercing. Like these are, look at this tiny ass little stray barbell. These are all really small, so most of these are not going to have room for swelling and healing on them. Most of these are going to be too short to be put in an initial piercing. I suppose, you know, for $7, that's what you get. But yeah, this is like the lowest quality coated mystery metal garbage that is probably not going to properly fit your fresh piercing, not going to have room for swelling and healing, a super low quality material. All of these things can cause irritation bumps and issues, migration, and even rejection, like just garbage quality. But you know, like that's what I expected. Again, a $7 piercing kit, like what did you think you were going to get in it? What gets me is really like the sterilization factor. Like when I see people post on TikTok and they're like, oh, I'm going to pierce my own ear with this. Don't worry, like I ordered this kit online. It's like everything I'm using is sterile. Half of this stuff was not properly packaged to be or remain sterile. Multiple needles had damage to their packaging, so they were no longer sterile. And who knows what bacteria they were exposed to during the process of it being shipped and getting to your house and you storing it until you used it. Like, folks believe because it says sterile or because the bag that it comes in says sterile, then that automatically means that it's sterile and they're safe. And if you take nothing else away from this video, take away the fact that that doesn't mean anything. I can write sterile on something on a fucking Ziploc bag and hand it to you, but that doesn't mean that what's inside of that bag is actually sterilized. The way this was packaged and shipped, and also the way these packages are sealed, how difficult it is to get them open. If you didn't have sterile scissors, then none of that was sterile after you opened it anyway. You already contaminated these needles and these tools just by opening them. And forget the fact that like the jewelry itself isn't sterile. So even if by some miracle the needles remained perfectly sterile all the way to your house, you're going to pierce yourself with that and then immediately insert an unsterile piece of jewelry. Like best case scenario, that jewelry is disinfected, but it still has bacteria and bioorganisms living on the surface of it. So again, I know a lot of folks see these kits marketed as sterile piercing kit, and you see these things come in it and it's labeled as sterile, and it makes you think that you're being safe and clean. But but you're not. It's not actually sterile at all. It is maybe one step above picking up a gross safety pin out of your dad's garage and piercing yourself with it. Like, when it comes to sterility, there's kind of no in between to mess with. These could easily have just as much dangerous bacteria on and in them as a random needle you find somewhere laying around. So don't let these cheap kits fool you into thinking you're actually getting something sterile and safe. Yeah, that went about how I thought it was going to. I can't get over those gloves. I think that's the most disgusting thing I've put on my hands in a long time. I don't know how anyone manages to even hold on to the jewelry, let alone pierce people wearing those gloves. Those were awful. And yeah, everything was super low quality, not actually sterile, not great. So if you're seeing these kits and you're seeing people post about it and you're thinking like, oh wow, that actually sounds like it's not like too dangerous, I'm here to inform you that that is not the case, and it's not great. Now I have a bunch of really gross random jewelry laying around, so I'm gonna have to figure out a cool DIY to do something with all of these terrible pieces. And yeah, go get pierced by professional piercers, folks. Get your piercings done safely and correctly in an actual clean and sterile environment with actual jewelry that's the right size for you to heal a piercing with. Please, we want to see your piercings heal well and be healthy. All right, folks, thanks for hanging out and chatting today. I can't wait to sit down and talk again soon. Have an awesome rest of your day. Bye.